Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing a topic that I have wanted to talk about for quite a while, and that is how to know if you are transgender. First off, I want to address those of you who have clicked on this video because you've been looking this question up on the internet. You've been watching content, trying to figure out, am I really trans? I feel like I might be, but I just am not all the way sure. I'm here to give you confirmation. You are trans. You're trans. If all you're waiting for is some sign, some confirmation, I'm talking to you right now, and yes, you are trans. If that's all you were looking for, click off this video, go call your doctor. Now the rest of you, you're probably here because you're wondering, well, how do I know if I'm trans? How do I all the way know? And there is really only one thing that you need to know in order to be trans, and that is that you have the desire to be anything other than your assigned gender at birth. That is literally it. It's that simple. Do you want to be your assigned gender at birth, or would you like to be something else? If you would like to be something else, then you are trans. That's it. The action of being transgender is born out of a desire. And if you have that desire, that's all you need. That's all of the validation or qualifications that you need. Because of the society that we live in, being trans is often made out to be a much bigger deal than it actually is. And because it is made to be such a big deal, we often feel that we need to have some sort of list of prerequisites in order to transition. But that is not the case. I know from my life experience that this feeling of needing to qualify in order to be transgender kept me from transitioning for quite a few years. So now I'm here to make the video that my 19-year-old self was looking for, and I'm going to give you the top 10 reasons that kept me from transitioning and why I now have proof that they are not good reasons to stop you from transitioning and that you should not listen to that voice. The first reason that kept me from transitioning was the thought, well, I'm not that unhappy in my current gender. What if I'm just a masculine woman in my case, or in others, what if I'm just a feminine man? And what I would say to that now is that it's actually awesome that you're semi-comfortable as your assigned gender at birth. The real question is, would you be more comfortable as a different gender? Being trans isn't only there to be the cure for crippling gender dysphoria. Like, yes, that is the cure, but you don't need to be suffering in order to transition. The question is not how unhappy are you, how miserable are you? It's, would transitioning make you happier? If that's a yes, then you're trans. You also may be more unhappy as your assigned gender at birth than you even realize. For example, I always felt fine with being a woman. I felt connected to feminine energy, I had a lot of female friends, I enjoyed some aspects of being a woman. But it just didn't feel totally right. Like, it wasn't as though I hated being a woman, it's just that I much rather would have been a man. And now I look back at myself pre-transition and I see how miserable I actually was without really even knowing it or even knowing why. I can see now how it bled into my confidence, how it bled into my relationships with other people and kind of put me at war with myself constantly. Not transitioning had more consequences to my mental and physical health than I knew it had until after I transitioned and the gender dysphoria was gone. I'm healthier now that I've transitioned in every conceivable way, mentally, physically, spiritually. Don't deny yourself the chance to be happier. The second reason that stopped me from transitioning was the thought, I like the opposite sex. Why would I transition and be gay when I could not transition and be straight? Isn't that easier? And you would think, yes, that is easier. Society wants you to think that that's the easier way, to like shut off your internal feelings and just keep up with the status quo. But ask yourself this, are you happy dating men as a cis woman? Are you happy dating women as a cis man? Do you want to date a man in a gay way? Do you want to date a woman in a lesbian way? Because for me, dating straight men as a cis woman was a nightmare. They never treated me in the way that I wanted to be treated. I was attracting like masculine cis het men, and I was completely uninterested in their energy. I was not attracted to them. It just never felt like I was meeting the right people for me. But every shy gay guy that I ran into or met, I wanted to like eat in one bite, right? I was constantly falling in love with gay dudes, and it made me feel bad about myself. Like when I was 12, my childhood crush was Neil Patrick Harris. So like clearly I always knew what I liked, right? I just, instead of being like, huh, maybe that's a sign, I just shamed myself for it and made myself feel bad. But there was a reason to that desire. And as soon as I transitioned, I started attracting exactly the type of people that I wanted to be with. Because I was showing up in the world as my authentic self. Unless they're the most annoying person you've ever met, gay people are down with trans people. There's not that many gay people that I know who are like, no, I would never date a trans person. There are gay people out there, both cis and trans, that will want to be with you, and you will find the right person for you. Go transition, live your beautiful gay life. Someone is out there waiting for you. I promise. The third reason that kept me from transitioning was, I'm worried I'm never gonna pass. I'm too blank. Whatever reason you think you're not going to pass, I can assure you that it's bullshit. Whatever that I'm too blank is. I'm too tall, too short, too fat, too skinny, too muscular, too scrawny, too bald, too hairy, too feminine, too masculine. Whatever you're thinking you're too much of, that is not true. You will pass if that is what you want. If you want to pass, you will pass. And let me tell you why. Some things about us are unchangeable. Like height, for example. Like, unless you're like one of those weird incels who gets like leg lengthening surgery or something. But in this day of medical science, 95% of things about us are changeable. HRT is a hell of a fucking drug. That shit can change things about you that you thought were forever. That you thought were completely permanent. For example, when I first started taking testosterone, my feet grew 3 sizes. I had to buy all new shoes. I didn't even know that your feet could grow that much in adulthood. And I looked it up and it was like, yeah, HRT can make your feet grow or shrink depending on, which way you're transitioning. Do not underestimate the things that HRT can do for you. Our human form is a lot more malleable than you might think it is. And then the second thing is, whatever you think is gonna keep you from passing, whatever that thing is, it's not. Like, for example, say you are like, oh, I can't transition to become a man because I'm too short. I've heard that one before. False. Buzzer noise. There are so many short cisgender men. However short you are, there are so many men in the world that are exactly your height and are cisgender, and people do not look at them and immediately assume, I bet that guy's trans. No, they're just like, oh, that guy's short king. Whatever, right? Like, cis people have a very wide array of body types and gender expression while still being cisgender, and we just don't get shown that, like in media or whatever. Another example from my life, I used to think that like my hips were really wide and that like my ass was too fat to like be that of a cis man's, and I would wear my work uniform and I would feel really self-conscious about it, and I would be like, oh my god, like I look like a girl from behind. And then I had a cis male coworker start who literally has the fattest ass I have ever seen to this day. Like, brother had a shelf, and he was just like a normal cis straight dude, and like nobody thought twice about it. As soon as I met him, I was immediately like, oh, this is silly. Like, cis people have all different body shapes and body types, and whatever you think is going to keep you from transitioning, there are plenty of cis people with that exact same attribute as you, and people do not look at that attribute on them and go, they're trans. That doesn't happen. Here's another thing, even farther than that. Cis people do not automatically assume that you are transgender. They will actually go to extreme lengths in their mind to rule out that you are transgender. A lot of the time, that thought doesn't even enter their consciousness. Example of this, me and my friend Noah were out at this like gay rave. Some gay dude comes up and like grabs Noah's crotch, right? And then the guy takes his hand away and he's like, wow, that's a great tuck job. And just like flits off in the crowd. And me and Noah were like, he literally grabbed a trans dude's crotch, and instead of being like, oh, this guy's trans because there's nothing there, he was like, oh, it's taped back. Like, cis people do not think that you are trans. You have to like tell them most of the time. The fourth reason that kept me from transitioning, and I know keeps a lot of other people from transitioning, is, well, I didn't show any signs of being trans in my childhood, or like I didn't want to transition when I was a child, so that makes me not trans now. No, just because you didn't want to be trans as a child does not mean that you can't fundamentally change. Child you is not an authority over your life now. If you grow up and realize in that process, like, oh, I want to be a different gender, then that's the way it goes. Being trans does not require a specific childhood experience. It really doesn't. Also, you probably did show signs of being transgender during your childhood, but you just don't realize it. There are a ton of different signs that could indicate that one is transgender that they might exhibit in childhood. Some of which you may not realize are signs until you get into community with other trans people and you talk to them and realize like, oh, I was doing that as a kid too. And you kind of realize like, it's more common, your experience is more common than you actually think it is. For example, when I was a kid, I never wanted to dress up as a princess like all my other friends did. But I didn't want to dress up as a prince or a boy either. I wanted to dress up as a dog. And although dressing up as a dog is not published in medical journals as a sign that a child may later in life experience gender dysphoria, when I go talk to all my trans friends, they're like, oh yeah, I was doing that shit too. So many things are not like medically a sign, but they're more of just like a shared experience or like a stereotype or something that we can all kind of relate to as trans people. The signs aren't always so obvious, they're not always so black and white. And a lot of signs you won't even realize are there until after you transition because hindsight is 20/20. The fifth reason that I hear people not wanting to transition is, I'm in a relationship, my partner is not gay. I don't want to transition and for us to break up. I have two things to address there. One, your partner actually probably is gay a little bit. If you're trans and they were drawn to your energy, they're probably a little gay. Let me tell you, I have had multiple straight men come out as gay or bisexual after interacting with me. One example, the boyfriend I had right before I transitioned, in the conversation that I came out to him as trans, he also came out to me as gay. I like sat him down and I was like, hey, I think I'm trans, we need to break up. And he was like, oh, that's so funny. I think I'm gay and we need to break up. And we were both like, LOL, like, let's part ways. But energy doesn't lie. Two is, don't limit your life because of a relationship that is what you think that you want. Chances are, if you break up with your current partner and transition, you're going to meet someone who they're going to make you much happier than your current partner would ever be able to. And that's because you'll both be living authentically. Also, I will say there are a lot of people out there nowadays who are super chill with trans people. A lot of people would probably stay with their partner through a transition. And I think that's super cool. I've seen some people stay with their partner through a transition and be their biggest cheerleader, their fiercest defender, their undying support system. But I will say, if you do stay with a partner through your transition, just make sure they're respecting you and all the changes that you're going through. Ideally, your partner should be 100% on board with your transition. They should be enthusiastic and supportive in whatever way you need. They should also understand that there's going to be a lot of big changes in your life, and that will require communication about uncomfortable topics. And as long as both of you guys are on the same page with that, you guys have good communication, no reason you guys shouldn't stay together, right? I have seen some people who are uncomfortable with changing their identity alongside their partners as their partner transitions. A lot of the time, these people are ashamed to be associated with queer identities, especially around their family and friends, because they have some internal issues that they have not unraveled. Although those people may love you, they need to unwind the shame within themselves alone. They should not be projecting that onto you and make you deal with that. I suggest in that situation that you just walk away, make it clear that you're choosing yourself and your happiness, wish them well, let them work on themselves, and exit gracefully. Sometimes people break up because one of them is transitioning, and that's okay. The sixth reason I have heard is, life seems a lot harder if you're trans. My life is already hard. I don't want to transition and make it even harder on myself. And this is true, yes, but not entirely. Yes, life is often harder for trans people than it is for cis people. But being stuck as a gender that you are not will kill you slowly. It will eat at you, it will never go away. All the challenges of being trans are far outweighed by the benefits of transitioning and how good it feels to be who you actually are. Otherwise, we wouldn't all be doing it and putting up with all this bullshit, right? Like, before I transitioned, I was so miserable. Not because of any outside circumstances making my life harder, but just because being in my own head was so difficult and painful to exist within. Everything felt wrong. I never felt comfortable, and I couldn't figure out why. Right before I transitioned, I was so depressed, so clinically depressed. I was agoraphobic. I couldn't talk to anyone. I couldn't eat. I couldn't go to the grocery store. I couldn't take care of myself. I was so sick, and I could not figure out why. And then the second that I transitioned, it all disappeared. I felt all of the unmovable blocks that were preventing me from being happy just gone. No amount of SSRIs or therapy sessions were able to do for my mental health what 1 month of being on HRT was able to do. Being openly trans will never be as hard as it is to stay in the closet for your entire life. I promise you. I promise you, you will be happier. I promise, even though it is hard, yes, it is difficult. It is so much worse to stay in the closet. It will eat you up forever. You can try and push it away, but it will always gnaw at you. The seventh reason I hear for people not wanting to transition is, what if I transition and I look worse? I look okay right now as a cis person. I feel fine with the way I look now, but what if I transition and mess that up? You won't. You will be hot. I have never seen someone transition and get uglier. I swear. The closer that you get to self-actualization, the hotter that you get, right? Because you're more yourself, you're more confident. If you think you're even mildly good looking right now, you're going to love the way you look when you transition. You're going to be so confident. You're going to think that you're so hot. Because the energy that's radiating from you will have an air of confidence that it could not possibly have while you exist in the wrong vessel. Because you're not being yourself. And if you don't think you're hot, if you don't like the way that you look now, transitioning will probably help you. You probably don't like the way you look because you're trans and in the closet. That's probably a big part of it, whether you know that consciously or subconsciously. Also, as you transition, you will naturally take better care of yourself and make choices that are more aligned for your highest good. The choice to come out of the closet is taking care of yourself. It's like a domino effect. You make one decision of self-care, and there's going to be a whole line of those decisions that follow. The eighth reason that kept me from transitioning for a long time was the thought of, what if I transition and it makes sex and dating a lot harder? Will people want to be with me? Like, will my dating pool even exist anymore? And we are told as trans people that society thinks that we are weird and gross and unattractive, and they're freaked out by us. But in my lived experience, there is no shortage of people out there that are eager to be with a trans person in whatever way that is. People love us, honestly. Like, In my lived experience, it has shown me the opposite, that people love and are so attracted to trans people. You may not be everyone's cup of tea, right? But that's okay. And don't even get me started on the T for T dating scene. Extensive. Like, that's like a whole world that's kind of hidden before you transition. You realize, oh, all these trans people are like actually falling in love with each other, and that's awesome, and it's beautiful. There's gonna be plenty of people out there, both cis and trans, that are gonna wanna be with you. The new challenge is gonna be, who do I pick? It's so much easier to find true love when you're being your true self. It's actually the only way to find true love. The 9th reason I hear is, I don't know if my family and friends are gonna be supportive of me. I don't wanna lose these people in my life that I'm close to. A lot of the time, people in your life will surprise you. If people truly love you, they're gonna accept your transition because they're gonna see that's what truly makes you happy. But there's a few ways that I believe you can make socially transitioning easier on yourself, just through your own actions. The first is confidence. By declaring this is what you are not leaving any room for people to cast doubt onto you. There's no room for debate. By declaring, I'm trans, this is my new name and pronouns. That's all you need to say. You don't have to answer anybody's questions, you know? Like, if someone asks you about hormones or about surgery, just saying like, that's actually medical information that I don't feel comfortable disclosing. Like, that will usually shut people up because it is medical information. And why do they feel that they have the right to know that about you? You don't go around asking for their fucking patient chart. If you are comfortable disclosing that information about your transition to somebody and you're not really sure of their level of support yet, just being very nonchalant and matter-of-factly is a great way to not give people room to escalate the situation emotionally. It gives people no room for them to disagree with you because you're like, this is just a fact. I'm not actually asking for your opinion. Stand firm in your boundaries. Don't let people tell you about yourself. The second thing that I think makes socially transitioning easier is patience. People might not get it right away. They may have a negative reaction in the beginning, but usually once they see how much happier you truly are after transitioning, they're gonna change their tune about your transition. They're gonna become more supportive. Someone has to be like a true scumbag narcissist to think that their opinion about what you should be doing with your life matters more than your happiness. Why the fuck would you be listening to someone's opinion over what you know is true about yourself? But being patient, letting people be unsure while they watch you go through your transition, letting people make small mistakes and greeting those small mistakes with kindness and patience, it does go a long way. It helps people understand transness in a way that they didn't before. I'm speaking from my experience with my religious family. My extended family is very religious. My dad is very religious. I knew when I transitioned that he was not going to be on board. So when I came out, I was just like, this is what's happening. I'm doing this. This is what's gonna make me feel better. This is what's gonna keep me from. He knew that I was actually in a lot of pain. He wasn't approving right away, but slowly over time, he's realized, oh, this was important and essential for him. Therefore, I am on board because I know how much of a difference this had in my kid's life. The third thing that makes socially transitioning easier is aggression. This is the last resort though. If people repeatedly cross your boundaries after you've confidently stood in your boundaries and declared them to their face and they keep disrespecting you, the only thing left to do is to greet that with aggression. You must stand up for yourself. Other people will back you up because they'll see that you're in the morally right position. Here's one example. When I used to work at a restaurant, one of my coworkers found out that I was trans, and he continually made these little jokey remarks, right? And one day he opened the door for me and was like, ladies first. And I had just about enough. And so I grabbed the door handle from him, slammed the door, closing us both into the alleyway, and told him, if you don't fucking stop saying those little jokey remarks, we're gonna have a big fucking problem. And he acted like I was crazy. He was like, whoa, bro, it was just a joke. And I was like, This is not a fucking joke to me. Get that through your head. And he was like, whatever, man, like went back inside. And I was like, oh, he didn't apologize to me? He doesn't seem like he feels like sorry for being such a dick. Okay, we're gonna play it like that, huh? So I told every person that we worked with that he was like being transphobic to me. He kept making these little jokes and little remarks, and that I told him that I'd had enough, and he still hadn't apologized to me. I was working at a restaurant. There was like 3 of us guys, and then there was like 8 hot, cool girls that were like the waitresses. All the waitresses stopped talking to him and ignored him until he came and apologized to me. When you're standing up for yourself as a trans person, using the good people that are surrounding you to make these freaks realize that they are actually the ones that are in the minority, not you. You're not the minority as a trans person. They are the minority for being a freak to a trans person. Making sure that these people know that you actually do have the support of like those around you, it'll make them realize that they're in the wrong. Make them see that they can't bully you without consequences. And make a big fuss, even over small things. Because those small things, they'll grow. Every inch that you give them, they will take that inch. So don't let people being transphobic to you get away with fucking anything. The 10th reason that kept me from transitioning was the thought of, it's gonna take so long to pass and I don't wanna be in that middle waiting period. First off, it's gonna take a lot less time than you think it will to pass. The more energy that you put into looking the way you want to as a trans person, the quicker that it will happen. It's not gonna take you years to pass. It'll probably take you like months. Just put as much energy into what you want to look like as you desire, you know? Picture what you want to look like in your head, write down how you want to look and feel in a journal. Give that version of yourself the effort and energy that is required, and you will see results much faster than you think you will. And get ready for life to just get a whole lot better, you know? Like, your life is gonna improve way faster than you think it will. I promise you. I would love to know if this video helped you. If it did, I'd love it if you left a comment below or sent me a DM or something. If you have already transitioned and you previously held similar fears to the ones that I just listed and talked about, you know, consider leaving a comment telling people how you got over those fears or what made you decide to transition. Because there's plenty of people out there talking about how serious transitioning is and how much you really need to think about it and how it's like a medical diagnosis and all this shit, right? And there's not enough people being like, hey, society's like actively trying to keep you from transitioning. Don't listen to them. There's not enough people talking about how it's actually super normal to be trans. I think that there's a lot of people out there living in the closet, and I think that if society treated transitioning and being transgender with the amount of nonchalance and like normalcy that it actually deserves, and people were like not weird freaks about it, a lot more people would be transitioning. It's more normal and it's more common to be trans than we think it is because of the way society has portrayed it. We live on a fucking floating rock. We live on a floating rock. And our lives are so short. It's really not that serious. If transitioning would make you happier, do not waste one more second of your life being somebody that you're not. And realize, I have one life. I might as well be as happy as I possibly can be. And if you know that transitioning, in whatever way that means for you, will make you happier, then go fucking do it. Live your best life and send me a DM if you need to come out to someone and don't know who to come out to. You can send me an Instagram DM and come out to me. It'll be our little secret. Transition, y'all. It's great.